Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. I am Hazrat Bilal, Coordinator, Department of Education, Sarhad University of Science and Information Technology. As you know, in our previous lecture, we discussed something about the planning of discussions. That's how we are going to plan a discussion activity. And also we discussed how to organize a discussion activity. So we provide lots of explanation with different ranges so that you people may be able to understand how to organize and how to plan a discussion activity. Today we are going to discuss some different tips to ask effective questions. So in this topic we will discuss some different tools and techniques based on which the student may be able to ask certain effective questions during the group activity or during a discussion process. So discussion, the elements of a successful discussion. First of all, we need to discuss what are the elements of a successful discussion. So there should be a proper discussion upon it. Whenever we are considering a successful discussion, so a discussion will be successful only if the environment is conducive for learning. If there are proper group divisions and the division of the groups having certain characteristics, certain below average students should be there, average students should be there, and above average or well talented students should be there, so that there should be a communication of ideas, communication of knowledge with each other. Beside this, the nature of questions should be relevant. It should not be irrelevant, so that we need to stop our discussion from derailing. We need to stop our discussion from deviating from its original path. So that's why we can say that elements of a successful discussion should be discussed at the beginning. Then the first thing which we need to consider, that is brainstorming. That whenever we are arranging a group activity or a discussion activity, so the brainstorming activities or the brainstorming techniques should be there. This brainstorming techniques allow the student to think deeply, to think rationally, to think logically about a particular topic, so that they may provide an organized information. Organized information means, as in previous lecture we discussed, planning of discussion and organizing of discussion. So in organization of discussion we discussed that the students need to organize their knowledge. At the end we discussed that there should be certain quizzes. So whenever the students are going to attempt a quiz, so they have to organize their knowledge and give a sequential order to their knowledge. So that sequential knowledge, that is because of brainstorming technique. That through brainstorming techniques the students are generating new ideas, developing new ideas, thinking about the existence topic, and then they are relating that knowledge with the topic. So that's why brainstorming provides an opportunity to the student to think logically, think rationally, and think according to the nature of the topic, according to the nature of the subject, and develop their own ideas. No need to copy the words of other students. Need to use your own words through your own thinking abilities. Rearrange your classrooms. As we know that discussion activity is completely different from that of a regular lecture. For this purpose we need to rearrange the class, rearrange the students, rearrange their seating arrangements. Why we need it? We need it so that we could provide a sophisticated environment for discussion activities, because discussion activity is completely different from that of lecture delivery. Whenever it is completely different from lecture delivery, so that's why we need to rearrange the seating arrangement, rearrange the sequential order, and rearrange the students by their characteristics, by their natures, so that different categories of students should be the part of a single group. Avoid unproductive questions. It is a practice of common phenomena that in every situation there are certain students, sometimes they are asking certain irrelevant questions. Irrelevant question for the sake of joke, irrelevant question for the sake of teasing other friends, or some student intentionally want to derail the discussion, deviate the discussion from their original path. That is why they are asking certain unproductive questions or certain irrelevant questions. So, before starting the discussion activity, certain outlines or guidelines need to be given to the group members, in which this factor should be emphasized, that nobody will ask any irrelevant questions or unproductive question, which results a negative impression of the discussion, which result the discouragement of learning process, or which deviate the discussion activity from its original path. That is why these types of irrelevant questions or unproductive questions which does not have any link with the topic, which are not related to the topic, जिसका टॉपिक या सब्जेक्ट के साथ कोई ताल्लुक है ही नहीं, ऐसे सवाल जब पूछे जाते हैं तो इससे सिस्टम में बिगाड़ आ सकती हैं. That's why these types of questions should be ignored. इसके अलावा we need to give an opportunity to the students to lead the discussion. How to lead the discussion? एक टॉपिक assign की जाती है students को, and then the students are allowed to discuss the topic. Every separate individual sharing their own ideas, their own feedbacks, sharing their own knowledge relevant to that topic. So, when one member of the group delivering a lecture upon the topic which is assigned to them, another student may interrupt, they may ask certain questions, certain rational questions based upon certain logical reasons, and the person who is explaining the topic, he need to provide certain information, he need to support his arguments, support his statements, and give certain references that based on that reference I can say that these information are authentic. Similarly, then other members will also follow the same techniques, the same phenomena, the same pattern. Through this process, the group discussion will getting prolonged. Different students or different group members, they will share their own ideas, sharing our experiences, own talent, their own logical thinking, logical background, and then they will lead this conversation to a final conclusion. To a final conclusion means that finally the ideas of all the group members will get developed, the confusion, the flaws, the ambiguities which they have in their mind, all those will get clear, and as a result every student will have to achieve their desired goals of that group discussion. So, what will be the goals of that group discussion? That their minds are get clear, they gain all relevant and supportive information about a topic, and they organize their knowledge in a sequential order. Leading questions. Leading questions are those questions which are relevant to the topic and which are supportive to the topic, so that the discussion may get prolonged. When the discussion may get prolonged, so as we discussed that different ideas will get shared. Whenever there is a sharing of ideas, the student will gain more information, different students will gain more information, and different student will compare those information with their existing knowledge. As a result, their knowledge will get more and more polished. They will gain more authentic and real life information. As a result, their individual and mutual goals will be accomplished. Ask the kinds of questions that stimulate discussion. Those types of questions need to be asked which encourage that discussion, which encourage other students to ask certain productive questions. It will encourage other weak students as well to think more deeply, think more logically about the topic and also share their ideas. Of course, certain flaws and weaknesses or ambiguities should be there in the questions of certain weak students. Their knowledge will be insufficient, but other group members need not to discourage it. They need to encourage it for the sake of their existing knowledge, that still they are able to share something, participating in the group activity. So इसको कभी भी discourage नहीं करना चाहिए, बल्कि उसको भी encourage करना चाहिए, so that they may become more bold and they may become an active participant in this group activity. Encourage students to respond to one another during the discussion. Sometimes it happens that one or two talented students, they are asking the questions on regular basis. So those students also need to encourage the other weaker students, that they may also come forward and they may also go for certain contribution. They may also contribute their knowledge, they may also contribute their questions, so that the discussion become more and more productive. So whenever the discussion becoming more productive, who will gain the benefits? All the group members will gain benefits. When all the individual gain benefits, it means individual and mutual goals and objectives are achieved. So that's why it's better to encourage other group members of the class or the group. They also need to be encouraged, so that they may also present their views. Build in reflection. Sometimes it happens that a student giving very authentic information, the other student also want to add something more within that information. So he may give a reference that just like Mr. A present a statement about a topic, so with the addition to that information, he is also going to add something more. So a reflective activity will be generated. इसी तरह इस ग्रुप डिस्कशन में एक जान सी आएगी. इस ग्रुप डिस्कशन में लोगों का इंटरेस्ट और भी बढ़ता जाएगा. जब लोगों का इंटरेस्ट बढ़ता जा रहा होगा, रिजल्ट क्या होगा? सारे ग्रुप मेंबर्स जो हैं वो इनकरेज होंगे. As a result, your final goals and objectives will get achieved. Now, there are certain rules for discussion activity. That first of all, we need to explain the ground rules for participation. What will be the rules for participation? Let's suppose that every group member will contribute. Every group member will ask relevant questions. Unproductive or unnecessary questions should be avoided. इसके अलावा हर ग्रुप मेंबर की जो इंफॉर्मेशन है उसको क्रिटिसाइज किया जाएगा, बट इन ए पॉजिटिव सेंस, नॉट फॉर द सेक ऑफ डिस्करेजमेंट, जिसको हम पॉजिटिव क्रिटिसिज्म कहते हैं, क्रिटिसिज्म फॉर द सेक ऑफ इम्प्रूवमेंट. इट मीन्स दैट व्हेन एवर ए पर्सन गिविंग इंफॉर्मेशन, सो इट शुड बी अथेंटिक, और इसी इंफॉर्मेशन के बारे में इसका जो सोर्स होगी उसके बारे में पूछा जाएगा. इस तरह कुछ और रूल्स जो कि हर एक ग्रुप डिस्कशन के लिए नेसेसरी हो, मैंडेटरी हो, उसको एट द स्टार्ट ऑफ द डिस्कशन जो है वो शेयर किया जाना चाहिए. नेक्स्ट वन, आस्क टू स्टूडेंट्स व्हाट मेक्स एन एक्सीलेंट क्लास डिस्कशन. इसी सिलसिले में we need to take certain suggestions from our students as well, that what should be the necessary steps which can make a discussion more productive, more fruitful, best on which the individual could achieve their individual and mutual goals. What will be the steps best on which the weaker students will get more and more knowledge. They will become a type of uplifting. They will be the part of uplifting, so that they may gain more and more information. Their current status should be raised. अभी कैसे पॉसिबल है? ये ऐसे पॉसिबल है that we need to respect the ideas of every individual and encourage other people to ask more questions for the sake of leading this group discussion. Give pioneers on how to participate in class discussion. जो pioneers हैं उसके बारे में भी उससे भी कुछ सजेशन लेने की ज़रूरत है. जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं उसमें हर ग्रुप में हमेशा एक ग्रुप लीडर होता है जो कि इस ग्रुप को लीड करता है. अब जब एक इंडिविजुअल ग्रुप को लीड करता है, so we can simply say that the pioneer. So the pioneer should lead the group in a productive way so that other group members should get encouraged. इसके अलावा we need to give certain pointers. Give pointers on how to participate in a class discussion. अब पार्टिसिपेशन के बारे में जो सर्टन पॉइंट्स है या जो टूल्स एंड टेक्निक्स है या जो रिक्वायर्ड इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स हैं या जो रिक्वायर्ड स्टेशनरी है, वट एवर जो भी चीज़ें हैं उसके प्रोविज़न भी इसी ग्रुप डिस्कशन का ही हिस्सा होगा. आस्क स्टूडेंट टू थिंक ऑफ सम प्रिंसिपल्स फॉर डिस्कशंस which they think everyone should follow. देखो, जब एक एक्टिविटी परफॉर्म की जाती है, so every activity having certain logical backgrounds, certain purposes, certain objectives. So for the achievements of those purposes and objectives, an activity will be performed. जब वो एक्टिविटी परफॉर्म की जाती है तो रिज़ल्ट क्या होता है? जो इंडिविजुअल या म्यूचुअल गोल्स एंड ऑब्जेक्टिव्स हैं वो अकम्प्लिश्ड हो जाती हैं. अब उस अकम्प्लिशमेंट के लिए हर एक्टिविटी के लिए कुछ सर्टन प्रिंसिपल, सर्टन रूल्स बनाए जाते हैं. बाज़ औक़ात ऐसा होता है कि दैट द पीपल आर अलाउड टू डिज़ाइन योर ओन रूल, डिज़ाइन योर ओन प्रिंसिपल्स. अपनी रूल, अपने प्रिंसिपल्स ख़ुद बनाओ. ऐसे रूल बनाओ ग्रुप डिस्कशन के लिए ताकि वो सबके लिए एक्सेप्टेबल हों, जो कि हर बंदे के लिए कारामद भी हो, सो दैट एवरी इंडिविजुअल विल टेक बेनिफिट्स ऑफ दिस डिस्कशन. चाहे वो पार्टिसिपेशन के लिहाज से है, चाहे क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन के लिहाज से है, चाहे वो शेयरिंग ऑफ नॉलेज के लिहाज से है, चाहे वो अनप्रोडक्टिव क्वेश्चंस के लिहाज से है, दैट नोबडी शुड आस्क एनी इररिलेवेंट क्वेश्चंस. तो इस किस्म के रूल्स इंडिविजुअल्स को चाहिए, मेंबर्स को चाहिए कि वो ख़ुद डेवलप करें और उस पर ख़ुद भी अमल करें. इसलिए कि सक्सेसफुल रूल वो या सक्सेसफुल प्रिंसिपल वो होते हैं जो इंसान अपने लेवल पर बनाते हैं. जब इंसान ख़ुद एक सिस्टम का हिस्सा होते हैं और उसी सिस्टम में रहते हुए इंसान अपने लिए रूल्स बनाते हैं, पॉलिसीज़ बनाते हैं, प्रिंसिपल बनाते हैं, फिर उस पर अमल करना भी आसान हो जाता है. दैट्स वाई द ग्रुप मेंबर्स आल्सो नीड टू गिव अ परमिशन टू कंस्ट्रक्ट योर ओन रूल्स. टीचर शुड राइट all of these suggested principles where every student can see them. अब इन रूल का, इन प्रिंसिपल का एक चार्ट बनाना है, एक लिस्ट बनानी है, इसको ऐसी जगह पर अवेजा करनी है, उसको ऐसी जगह पर डिस्प्ले करना चाहिए सो दैट ऑल द स्टूडेंट में गेट फेमिलियरिटी विद दोज रूल्स एंड पॉलिसीज. या एटलीस्ट इट शुड बी शेयर्ड विद एवरी ग्रुप मेंबर सो दैट they may not derail the discussion process or their question may not be deviated from the original path. Whatever is the nature of discussion, the nature of discussion should be continued and no one will discourage it. No one will have the right to deviate the discussion from its original path. इसलिए rules बनाए जाएंगे according to the level of the students, policies बनाए जाएंगे according to the levels of the student so that it become easily for them that they may follow it. Next two rules हैं, if suggestions are not obtained from students, teacher can suggest some of the following principle for students. As we know, sometimes the formulation of rules become difficult for the students because they are new in the field, they don't have certain relevant experience about the arrangement of group discussions. So if the students become unable that they may present their views, in this regard the teacher may suggest certain principles, certain rules for a group activity, for a discussion activity. Some of them may be as follows. Pay attention to the participant who is speaking. Let's suppose in a group there are 6 to 7 students. If a student speaking something, other group member need to pay attention, take interest in their speech, in their discussion. If they are not giving attention, the person who is sharing their ideas, their knowledge, their expertise, that person will also get bored, and finally he will get discouraged. That's why I'm sharing my ideas, my views. That's why it's better that every individual should pay attention so that he may take keen interest in the participation process. Only one participant speak at a time. Whenever the discussion process is undergo, the individuals are need to allow one participant at a time to speak. It will give an opportunity to reduce communicational gaps or communicational barriers. It will also stop the arising of any misunderstanding. कि कोई मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग अगर अराइज होती है तो वो उसी वक्त स्टॉप हो जाएगी. इसलिए ओनली वन पार्टिसिपेंट इज अलाउड. वन that particular participant complete his ideas, complete his turn, then the next individual may criticize positively, or he may go for certain addition or subtraction in the topic, or whatever knowledge the member A, let's suppose, provide. So we need to pay full attention. Before saying something, raise hand. It's better that there should be a sequential order. It's better that there should be a sequential order. If a sequential order is there, then there will be no disturbance. Every individual will have to wait for their turn. Whenever their turn comes, if they have certain questions, if they have certain knowledge in their mind which he or she want to share, so then they may come and they may become free to discuss it, to share it with them, because it is their own turn now. So when someone is speaking, don't interrupt. Don't stop whenever a person sharing their ideas, sharing their views. If you are not agree with the proposal or with the statement of that individual, at the end of his or her discussion, you need to interact and you need to go for certain addition and subtraction process. But during his discussion or during her discussion, don't interrupt him or her. Let them to speak. Give them an opportunity to speak whatever they have in their mind or in their hearts. In case of disagreement with a response, be careful that there should be a criticism on the response, not on the person. Whenever, if you are disagree with the statement of an individual, so you need not to criticize the individual. You need to just criticize the statement. No need to criticize the individual. The statement may be wrong because the purpose of the discussion is a learning purpose, that the individual should polish their views, polish their ideas. So whenever they are polishing their views and polishing their ideas, so it means that all those people should be encouraged. So whenever we are going to all those people which are sharing their ideas, sharing their views, we need to encourage them. So it will give them more opportunities to speak out more and more. If you are disagree with the statement, don't criticize the person, criticize the statement, that the statement which you are presenting, that is wrong. Let's suppose certain addition is required, the source is not authentic, the informations are not relevant. So you just need to criticize the statement, not the individual. Because if you are going to criticize the individual, then the discussion will go towards personal discussion, which is strongly prohibited in a discussion activity. Next, don't mock on the person who is responding during the discussion. Sometimes ऐसा भी होता है कि within the class the students makes fun of each other. लेकिन डिस्कशन एक्टिविटी चूँकि एक फॉर्मल एक्टिविटी है और इसमें इंडिविजुअल्स जो हैं वो फॉर द सेक ऑफ लर्निंग वो है ऑर्गेनाइज्ड फॉर्म में बैठी हुई हैं. सो इन दैट केस एक दूसरे का मजाक नहीं उड़ाना चाहिए, बल्कि वी नीड टू इनकरेज every individual. This encouragement will boost their inner potentiality. will encourage that person more and more to speak out more and more. Whatever words they have in their mind, in their hearts, let them an opportunity to speak out. Need not to discourage them, need not to make fun of them. अगर उसके प्रोनाउंसिएशन में कुछ मिस्टेक्स हैं, प्रेजेंटेशनल स्किल्स में कुछ मिस्टेक्स हैं, राइटिंग स्किल्स में कुछ मिस्टेक्स हैं, या उसके जो नॉलेज है उसमें थोड़ी बहुत कमी बेशी है, so for the sake of that we need not to discourage the individual, or we need not to make fun of him or her. We just need to polish his or her views. Give confidence to every student to participate. As we discussed, that this is an activity through which individual and mutual goals need to be accomplished. So whenever we want to achieve the individuals and mutual goals, in this regard, every individual need to be encouraged so that he or she may share their ideas, share their views, share their experiences. No one will torture them, no one will hurt them, no one will make fun of him or her, that what you are saying, what you are exposing. No, whatever he is saying, whatever he is exposing, whatever he is expressing even, need not to discourage them, because this is a learning activity, and in that learning activity everyone need to be encouraged. बेशक उसकी इन्फॉर्मेशन गलत हो, लेकिन उसके प्रोनाउंसिएशन पर फोकस करनी चाहिए, उसके वर्ड्स पर, उसके जो रिलेवेंसी है टॉपिक के साथ उस पर फोकस करनी चाहिए. अगर कहीं पर कोई मिस्टेक्स हैं, मिसहैप्स हैं, सो वी नीड टू इनकरेज and we need to go for correction phase. Copy the list of rules neatly and hang it where participant can refer, add or make changes to it. As we know, this discussion is a learning activity. बाज़ औक़ात ऐसे सिचुएशंस भी आ सकते हैं कि जो प्रिंसिपल्स हमने डेवलप की हैं उसमें कुछ चेंजेस करने पड़ते हैं, उस रूल को चेंज करना पड़ता है. उसके लिए क्या करना चाहिए, इसको ऐसी जगह पर अवेंजा करनी चाहिए, ऐसी जगह पर इसको पेस्ट करनी चाहिए, so that during the discussion we may also be able to bring certain changes in that. Set the norms for discussion in the first week of the class. डिस्कशन की जो एक डेकोरम होता है, एक थीम होता है, it need to be discussed at the first week of the lecture. Why it need to be discussed? Because whenever the decorum is designed for the first time, the same theme, the same decorum, it should be followed throughout the session. फिर जब भी ग्रुप डिस्कशन या ग्रुप एक्टिविटी की बात होगी, the same decorum and the same theme need to be followed. If it gives successful result, then it will further encourage the students. इसलिए ये नेसेसरी है, ये लाजमी है कि हर ग्रुप के लिए कुछ रिवायात, कुछ कल्चर डेवलप की जाएँ, which need to be followed by every individual throughout the session. इसके अलावा use small group assignments and have a group scribe or reporter from each group. हर ग्रुप के लिए कुछ स्पेसिफिक सेट्स ऑफ असाइनमेंट्स होनी चाहिए, स्मॉल असाइनमेंट्स होनी चाहिए, और हर ग्रुप में एक इंडिविजुअल ऐसा होना चाहिए जो कि इसको लिख सके, उसको कंप्लीट कर सके, उस पर फोकस कर सकें. इसलिए बाज़ औक़ात एक टीचर ऐसा भी करता है कि लेट सपोज एक क्लास में 5-6 ग्रुप्स बना लिए, फिर हर ग्रुप से इनमें रिज़ल्ट मांगते हैं, दैट व्हाट यू अचीव्ड. जो क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशंस आपने की हैं उसके आंसर्स कहाँ हैं, जो फार्मूलाज लेट सपोज आपने डिराइव किए हैं, जो इक्वेशंस आपने डिराइव किया हैं, उसके रिटन प्रूफ क्या हैं. सो इसको आप एक असाइनमेंट के बेस पर भी ले सकते हैं, टेक इट एज एन असाइनमेंट. सो वन पर्सन इन दैट ग्रुप शुड बी रिस्पॉन्सिबल to go for those assignments and need to complete it. Once the assignment is being completed, then it's better to share it with the whole class. जब हम इसको पूरी क्लास के साथ शेयर करते हैं तो इसके शेयरिंग से एक फ़ायदा मिलता है, एक बेनिफिट मिलती हैं. वो फ़ायदा या बेनिफिट क्या है? वो ये है that the individual will feel themselves more relaxed whenever they are sharing or whenever they are comparing their ideas with those assignments, that yes, the knowledge which I have, it is also complete, it is also perfect, and it is also relevant to the topic. Whenever there is these types of communication or the sharing of knowledge, everyone will be encouraged and everyone will have an opportunity to compare their knowledge with the relevant topic and relate that knowledge with their real life world, so that they may get encouraged more and more. Now we have to move towards certain advantages of class discussions. That what are the advantages of class discussions? Number 1, students can participate at a time and place that suits them. स्टूडेंट की जो पार्टिसिपेशन है वो suitable time पे होनी चाहिए. It should not be like this, that if one individual is participating, asking questions or sharing his or her ideas, and the other student interrupting. No, it should not be like this. Whenever there is your turn, participate, ask questions, share your ideas, prove your value, show your talent, share your knowledge on a suitable time, but need not to interrupt whenever other person communicating their views. The act of typing forces students to take time and to contribute more developed ideas. As we discussed, that whenever the questions are being asked in a group activity, so their answer should be in written form. Why it should be in written form? It should be in written form in the sense that the answer should be in a well organized format, because at the end we have to share it with other students as well for comparison purposes. So that's why whenever you are writing something, within that writing duration, new and new ideas will also get developed related to more knowledge and related to more writing skills. So it is a fruitful activity that every individual need to consider it. Can reduce the amount of time the teacher has to give to telephone and face-to-face meetings and time in the office. This is something related to general phenomena, that group activity will suits the student and the teachers as well. Why it suits them? It suits for the teacher, it is beneficial for the teacher that time to time or face-to-face interaction with the student, it will be reduced. Sometimes the teacher have to deal one group, sometimes they need to deal another group, but not necessary that the teacher should deal each and every group continuously. If a student is able to lead their groups effectively, it is more productive. At the end, the results that will be shared with the teachers. Shy students get more of a chance to have to say. That's why we can say that those people who are a bit shy, those students who are a bit shy, they can't express their views, they can't express their ideas in front of the students, in front of the audience, or in front of the teachers inside a class. What will happen? They will also have an idea, they will also have an opportunity now to develop their skills and spoke out whatever they have in their minds in front of that group members. That's why we can say shy students get more of a chance to have a say. At least they have to say something. बेशक वो कुछ गलत कहें, irrelevant कहें, only for that specific category of people, लेकिन at least उसको encourage करना चाहिए कि हाँ, you have the ability, आप में इतनी ability पैदा हो रही है, at least आप group के सामने कुछ कहने के काबिल हो रहे हैं. So we need to encourage those people as well. We need to focus upon their presentational skills, we need to focus upon their intellectual skills, we need to focus upon their inner abilities, and to make them bold, motivate them to ask questions, come for presentation, write the answer of this question, then discuss it with other friend members, with other friends or other members. So इससे एक फ़ायदा ये मिलेगा कि उस बंदे की जो कि थोड़ी सी शर्म महसूस करता है या करती है टू स्पीक इन फ्रंट ऑफ द क्लास, उसके लिए एक encouragement है, so that he may become bold and to participate in a group activity and share their ideas and views. Encourage reflection and deeper thinking. As we discussed in our earlier classes, that discussion activity will result a productive environment. Why? Group activities are designed only whenever there is a need that some students are unable to understand the topic completely, or they have certain confusion relevant to a topic. In this regard, there is a brainstorming activity during that group. During that group discussion, there is a brainstorming activities as well, which provide an opportunity to the students to think more logically, think more deeply relevant to the topic, search for certain real life examples, search for some more authentic information, and you need to discuss it with your class fellows, discuss it with your classmates. If certain flaws, certain weaknesses are there, then those flaws and those weaknesses should be addressed, because the group members are there to help you, to support you, to support your statement. In this regard, it is beneficial to go for deeper thinking, to develop your inner potentialities. It will help you to develop more and more ideas, to share more and more knowledge, to become more and more productive person for a group and for the whole class as well. And the most important, to achieve your own goals and objectives, which are educational goals and objectives. Peer-to-peer learning encouraged. In this regard, we need to encourage peer learning. If in a group there are 1 or 2 experts, so they also have to go for certain discussion, or the talented student may go for discussion with the teacher, so that in both cases there should be a flow of words, a flow of knowledge. So whenever there is a flow of words, flow of knowledge, who will gain benefits? The whole class will gain benefit. Not only that particular group will gain benefit, but the whole class will gain benefit. So peer-to-peer discussion should be encouraged. Teacher is always there, and teacher is always playing a facilitative role. So whenever a teacher playing a facilitative role, it's better that his role should be emphasized. Answers are seen by all. As we discussed, that the whole class will gain benefit. So that is the reason that whatever discussion is undergoing between the teacher and the other talented students, whole class will take benefits from it. Expert thinking about a topic can be modeled and learned. Expert thinking, it should be another privilege. They will share their ideas, the whole class will gain benefits from it. Also, effective and efficient means to make whole class communication. There should be effective communication. There should be no barriers. Sometimes we need to go for curriculum discussion, curriculum language we need to adopt. Certain times we need to go for traditional languages to explain a topic, discuss a topic in our curriculum language as well as in our traditional language. Because there are certain students which may face confusion, in a sense that they may not be able to learn something which a teacher explaining in their curriculum language. They may be below average student, they may be weak and dull students. So for the sake of them, sometimes we need to go for traditional language. Urdu language में, पश्तो language में या और भी जो इलाकाई languages हैं, within that language we need to share knowledge, discuss the topic within their traditional language, so that they may get encouraged, they may learn something, and from time to time we are going to motivate them. A time will reach that they will be more and more bold, and a time will reach within that time they may be able to share their ideas in a proper curriculum language. So dear students, it was all about the advantages of the discussion method. In today's lecture, as you know, we discussed different advantages of the discussion method. Also, we also discussed certain more relevant topic related to the discussion activity, so that every individual may gain benefits from it, and every individual may understand the principles, the guidelines and the rules which are necessary for conducting a group activity, a discussion activity. So we discussed those rules, those principles and then their advantages as well, so that every individual may properly gain a clear picture of discussion activity, because it is a very fruitful activity and every individual must have to participate in it. There are a few points which are relevant to the disadvantages of class discussion. Number one, those with poor writing skills are disadvantages. जिसकी लिखाई अच्छी नहीं है या बहुत स्लो लिखते हैं, उसके लिए एक disadvantage इसलिए है that they may not be able to gain the points properly and then write it down. Whenever they are focusing on writing, the writings are very slow. Let's suppose डिस्कशन तो चल रही है, इसके लिए थोड़ी सी डिसएडवांटेज हैं. डिस्कशन कैन गो ऑफ टॉपिक. कभी कभी डिस्कशन जो है वो टॉपिक से हटकर किसी और तरफ चली जाती है, लेकिन ये बहुत रेयर केसेस हैं. इसके लिए हमने रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशन भी डिस्कस किए हैं. बाज़ औक़ात ऐसे होते हैं कि जब एक ग्रुप में एक टैलेंटेड बंदा होता है तो वो ख़ुद को ओवर वैल्यू कंसिडर करता है या दूसरे उसको बहुत ज़्यादा ओवर वैल्यू देते हैं, जिसकी वजह से ग्रुप के जो बाकी मेंबर्स होते हैं वो डिस्करेज हो जाते हैं. जब वो डिस्करेज हो जाते हैं एज ए रिज़ल्ट उसके जो इंडिविजुअल गोल्स एंड ऑब्जेक्टिव्स है वो अचीव नहीं हो सकते. दूसरी बात यह है कि इसके लिए रिक्वायर कंसिस्टेंट इनपुट फ्रॉम टीचर. हर वक्त टीचर को चाहिए कि उसके सर पे खड़ा रहे एंड एवरी टाइम द टीचर नीड टू गो गिव देयर इनपुट. सो इट आल्सो बिकम डिफिकल्ट दैट एट द सेम टाइम वन टीचर may deal 6 to 7 different groups, also it become a bit difficult. So needs to be moderated and monitored for inappropriate postings. इसको properly monitor भी किया जाएगा, इसको properly जो है evaluation भी इसकी की जाएगी ताकि जो inappropriate posting है उसको बचाया जा सके. लेकिन यहाँ पर हम इसको disadvantages में इसलिए लेते हैं कि इसके लिए प्रॉपर मॉनिटरिंग की ज़रूरत है. लेकिन एक टीचर जो है वो एक ग्रुप को मॉनिटर करेगा, 2 ग्रुप्स को मॉनिटर करेगा एट द सेम टाइम. इट बिकम मच डिफिकल्ट टू मॉनिटर 5 to 6 to 7 ग्रुप्स एट द सेम टाइम. इसलिए इट आल्सो काउंट एज द डिसएडवांटेजेस ऑफ दिस क्लास डिस्कशन. बट ओवरऑल इफ यू कंसिडर द एडवांटेजेस आर मोर देन disadvantages, so that's why this activity may refers to a productive activity where the learning activity can be encouraged, where the deficiency of the student can be fulfilled and the inner potentiality can be boosted up. So dear students, it was all about our today's lecture. इंशाल्लाह अगले लेक्चर में आपकी खिदमत में फिर से हाजिर होंगे कुछ नई मालूमात के साथ. तब तक के लिए इजाज़त दीजिए. अल्लाह हाफ़िज़ व मा अलैना इल्ला अल बलाग.